Let's get straight talking now. Despite the harvest season in October, prices of farm produce went up by 6% month on month as food inflation continues to trend northward at 18%. The rise in food prices in Nigeria have been attributed to the depreciation in the value of the naira and the increases in the prices of imported food items. The naira has depreciated by about 13% during the past year. For example, the average Nigerian household spent about 56% of income on food, the highest in the world according to the World Bank. The country's highest expenditure in food implies that a slight increase in food prices will push more people into multidimensional poverty. So let's make sense of this. Mr. Mayokwe Ilori is an economist and policy analyst, joins me now via the telephone. Thank you for your time, sir, for joining us on Business Breakfast.
Yeah, thank you, Frank, for having me.
It's all right. So the World Bank asserted that 6 million more Nigerians could slip further into poverty as food security and supply are under threat. So this is against President Muhammadu Buhari's claim that 10.5 million Nigerians were out of poverty within past 2 years. So currently about 47.3% Nigerians, that's about 98 million live in multidimensional poverty according to World Bank. So how seriously, the question is, how seriously should the government take the warning from the World Bank?
Well, we don't need even external bodies like United Nations or World Health Organization and the rest of it to be telling us what we need to do. But this is a clear and present danger. Food security, as it were, is national security. And in a country where we are growing insecurity by the hour, you can begin to see the dimensions of the risk we are presently in as a country. If we are not becoming a sub-regional problem and maybe even an African problem as well. I tell you, most already go, but we don't seem to. The 6 million being mentioned here is on top of the 90 million that you mentioned earlier. In below the poverty line. The line is like $1 per day. That's maybe 5. What can you buy with that? Nobody is spending coins in Nigeria. I'm not noticing, but the naira appreciating, even the CBN, is value of the. They are telling us that there's little or nothing they can do. I'm sure the government, if they do what they need to, put the resources and the eggheads, the academia behind them, that can tell them the things, the policies that have worked in other places. If you don't know where you are going, everywhere may seem like it. But if you have an idea, the next question is, how do I get there? Nigeria is not of poverty for God knows how many years now, and instead of things getting better, it's actually worse. President to do what he thinks is elected to do. The things of office around, all the private jets and all the cars and all the security. It's about affecting the lives of the average man, making the lives better, whether in the north or in the south, making those farmers that want to go to farm, that are doing their bit to contribute to the national economy, making them feel safe to go to the farm and come back and add to the national economy. Making the engineer, making the doctor, whatever, making them feel safe to do their bit, contribute to the family, add their own bit to the table at night, and pay their tax to the government for the advancement of society. So government has its work cut out for it if they are really serious about doing something. I'm sure the time to start is not even today. Somebody said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. I was looking at statistics and imagine that FAO and this United Nations body, they are feeding like 500,000 Nigerians inside Nigeria, and a country where governors are more worried about buying vehicles rather than looking at the plight of people in internally displaced persons camps.
Right.
So
Let me quickly come in. Let me come in here. There are two key monsters facing the country at the moment. Food insecurity on one side, then the other side is poverty as well. So, but for food supply, or to have enough food, we should step in here, because you've talked about the fact that there is insecurity in the north and a whole lot of challenges that is affecting the country, and we're unable to meet our own daily consumption. So the CBN, of course, have also banned importation of some food items. So at this point in time, who should step in to fill in the gap for food supply?
Okay, there's something we call Pareto optimality, where we say 80% of results is driven by 20% of inputs. So if we look at food supply as a problem, it can't be elements that can ensure that we have food sufficient in the country. Number one is maybe government policy, number two is forex, number three is the security of the farmers. Fourth, the funding. 90% of poverty.
Hello, I can barely hear you now. Are you still there, Mr. Hillary?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
What I'm saying is, from Pareto principles, 80% of the challenges we have, food insecurity, is between government and government policy. If, for instance, there is no security for the farmers, if you recall, sometime last year, about 80 or 70 farmers were killed by these bandits or terrorists, whatever you choose to call them. They were killed, and what government said was they didn't take permission before going to their farms. Where were they taking permissions before? So that is on one side. The other side is we use about $10 billion to import food every year. You know, we import wheat, we import fish, we import things that we should ordinarily not import because we have good and valuable farms in this part of the world. The government has not done enough in terms of policy enunciation, in terms of policy adaptation to meet the needs of the country, to meet the needs of 21st century Nigeria. So the individuals may be able to maybe show interest, but when you show interest and you have farms and the farm is due for harvest and some bandits come around and kill somebody close to you or threaten you not to come to farm or even cut you down in your prime, how it sends a wrong message that government is not ready to protect us, then maybe we should align even with the bandits. That is what is happening in the north.
So are you suggesting, therefore, just a moment, are you suggesting, therefore, that it's time for CBN to review its policy, especially the ban on some food items?
Well, left to me, the doctrine of protection, economic protection, has never worked anywhere. It never worked now. I guess the CBN governor is an accountant, not an economist. But I have no doubt that there are more economists than accountants in the central bank. So they should advise him rightly. The economic protection doesn't work for anybody. What can work is to make sure that you produce enough and you have a competitive advantage compared with your neighbors. That is the only way to sustain production. That is one. Two, it is not the place of CBN to be announcing fiscal policies. They have to do with monetary policy. It's not, we have Ministry of Finance for crying out loud. We have economic team running the country. Why is it CBN that is not doing anchor borrowers and anchor whatever and telling us what to grow and looking out for farmers? It's not their place. They should focus on their place. And the government that has been sleeping should wake up and do their own bit. That is the only way. You can't put the cart before the horse and expect things to go as we desire.
Now, let's talk on the other hand now about poverty, which, of course, the World Bank is suggesting that about 6 more million Nigerians could be pushed into poverty. So there are two concepts of poverty by experts. The first one is the head count index, which measures the proportion of the population that is poor based on a minimum of personal income. And the other, of course, measures The other measure is known as the multidimensional poverty, according to World Bank, which measures poverty by the level of income, access to health, education, living standard indicators, and what have you. So how do you think the country can harmonize these two concepts with regards to improving the standard living of every Nigerian?
Well, poverty essentially is when you can barely afford the essentials of life. So whether it's in terms of employment or in terms of facilities available to you, I'm sure these things are at every level connected. So if government wants to fight poverty, you need to ask yourself, where is the baseline? Some people have said, okay, $1 per day. When you say $2 per day, what does the average Nigerian earn? Some things that we don't also realize is that statistics can hide a lot. Because when you look at Lagos and look at, okay, people are earning 50,000, you don't look at people in the villages. The billionaires are hiding the resources of maybe the average person in the village. Because by the time we do, okay, the average Nigerian earns about $2,500 in a year. The average includes both Dangote and my grandmother in the village. So there are two extremes. In the middle, what you cannot deny is the fact that 100 million Nigerians are about living below the poverty line, and it's getting worse every day. And government itself is not helping matters. Look at the issue of gas. From 3,500 naira per 12 kg of domestic cooking gas, is now averaging about 10,000 to 12,000. Where is the money supposed to come from? If you eventually are able to afford it, it means that you will deny yourself some things. Maybe quality education, maybe quality of food, maybe transportation. Maybe some people have to trek distances that ordinarily they should be able to take transport like buses and maybe the popular Okadas and go to. So the issue is multidimensional as it were, but it begins and starts and ends with government. If government is serious enough, look at these people, formulate your domestic policies centrally to the average man, not using security, for instance, to protect the rich in society. Security should be for the average person. Make sure that, okay, how do we protect the common man on the street? That is how it should be. So fighting poverty is not something that is all about talk. It's about what are we doing? What have I done today to make the lives of my constituents better? What have I done to make the life of the average man in Sokoto, the average farmer, the average miller, the unemployed, the army of them in the north? We are talking about insecurity. We don't see the connection with unemployment. It's because there is no mass unemployment that these people become funnels for insecurity.
Okay.
When you are when government doesn't seem to care about you, when somebody comes and gives you 5,000 to come and carry a gun, you barely think twice. You are not rational at that point. So that is the issue.
Okay, let's wrap it up now in 30 seconds. Tell us what will be your quick fix solution to some of these challenges that you've highlighted.
Well, somebody said if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. I don't like the idea of foreign bodies being the one giving us statistics to work with. Let us employ statisticians, let us measure our problem, and let government have the willpower to do what needs to be done. They were elected in office to make our lives better, not to feather their own nest. I'm sure if they recognize this work that has been given to them and do it in good spirit and the letter, Nigeria will begin to get better.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Mr. Mayokwi Lori is an economist and policy analyst. Thank you for coming on Business Breakfast.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.